All right, my friends, greetings and salutations. Happy Thursday evening from Ohio. Hope everyone is doing well. I am enjoying a quiet evening after watching my Yankees lose in 10 innings. But hey, it is the playoffs, and it is the best of the best, right? But the Yankees blew it for tonight. Anyway, hope everyone is doing well. We'll be taking a look, my thoughts on, Ubuntu 24.10. And 20 years of Ubuntu. That has been in existence. I have not been using Ubuntu 20 years. I actually started using Ubuntu a year before the iPhone was invented, or at least a year before the iPhone came out, was released. Has it been that long? It has. So I'll talk a little bit about that, about Ubuntu, about why I don't use it anymore. But first, I'm going to drink my wine here. And I'll be right back. If you are new here, welcome. I try to do these live shows at different times to get people from different time zones to stop in, say hello, ask a question, comment, and all that good stuff. If you are new here, welcome. If you enjoy the ad-free shows, no ads, no interruptions, and consider supporting the ad-free shows. They will be ad-free from now to the end of the year for this year, and hopefully we can continue these. So let me grab my red wine, and thank you, Tim, for the wine. You know who you are. And don't go away. I'll be right back. Mm. Love red wine. It goes great, by the way, if you're cooking a steak, red meat, if you pour the wine on top of the steak as you're cooking it, that's all you need. You don't need any salt or anything like that, but it really is terrific. Okay. All right, so for those of you watching this podcast, let me go ahead. First of all, those of you watching this on the screen, this is on a Gateway PC from 2013. I think this one originally had Windows 8. These are the specs, nothing fancy, pretty much from the dinosaur age, but still runs, maxed out with 8 gigs of RAM. And it works. Quad core, 2.0 processor. Yeah, nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. Ubuntu seems to be okay on this. It's not quite as fast as Windows 11, but that's okay. It seems to be stable enough for me, and so far the extensions haven't broken. And it looks terrific. Let me go ahead and transition here for those of you watching this. Of course, I am using OBS Studio. I think this is a snap package. I installed this in Kdenlive. I generally try to avoid snaps and flatpaks because they can be unpredictable, those types of sandbox software. But this one seems okay. Hopefully it won't crash or anything like that. So this is the screen. Let me go ahead and minimize this. So, as I stated, I'm going to mute my phone here so we don't get interrupted with phone calls or notifications. But the first time I used Ubuntu, like I said, was back in '06, a year before the iPhone came out. It was just out of curiosity. There was something in a magazine or somewhere that said, "Are you tired of Windows XP? Have you tried Ubuntu?" And like everybody else, my first expression, my first thought was, "What the bleep is Ubuntu?" Well, almost 20 years later for me, here we are. And my marriage with Ubuntu, lasted up until 2016 for about 10 years. And I thoroughly enjoyed the Unity desktop, which I believe was Unity 7. I think it's been a while. And I had Ubuntu installed on 2 machines, for me at least. I know sometimes Linux can be a hit and miss unless you buy a Chromebook, but that's a whole different story. Linux was a hit and miss before Ubuntu, and I would say also Linux Mint. For me, it was pretty stable, not too many surprises, I would say, pretty reliable, and so on. It worked for me. So I had Ubuntu installed on 2 machines back in 2016, and it was great. Then they decided to drop the Unity desktop. And I have to tell you, I felt like Godfather in the movie Godfather 2 when Michael Corleone turns to his brother who betrayed him, and Michael says, "You broke my heart, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart." And that's what I felt like saying to Ubuntu when they switched to the GNOME desktop in 2017. And yeah, it not the same, at least not for me. Slower, generally more buggier, although it's gotten better. You never know when extensions are going to break. Of course, the more extensions you install, the more of something breaking. Here I have the app menu extension, as you see here. And this seems stable. I think I have a weather app, if I am not mistaken. Now, Ubuntu has gotten better, I will say that. But I never could get quite into the GNOME desktop as it stands. We're looking at system resources here. Almost 3 gigs of memory, which is about right for Ubuntu doing a live podcast. I will say this, it is stable. It looks terrific. Ubuntu always has looked pretty polished, as it were. But yeah, I'm more into the Mate desktop, XFCE from Linux Mint. I think Chrome OS and Chromebooks are so easy, super fast to use. But I just could not get myself to use the GNOME desktop, on a daily basis. Although Zorn OS is pretty good. Zorn OS has installed the proper amount of extensions to make it easier for new users and to make the desktop a little bit more user-friendly. I've talked about Zorn OS before on many occasions, so if you are new to all this and you're curious about Linux, maybe did not like Ubuntu for whatever reason, definitely take a look at Zorn OS if Ubuntu is not for you. So if you are new to Ubuntu, this will only be supported for 9 months, so keep that in mind. If you like Ubuntu and want to keep it, I would stick with the LTS releases every 2 years. You'll get at least 5 years of support. Your mileage may vary on whether it will work for you or not. Again, try to install as little amount of extensions as possible so they don't break with each version and or maybe updates in general. That aside, this version of Ubuntu seems quite stable. Now, I don't use this every day, to be honest. I'm usually on my Linux Mint or on my phone or my Chromebook. But in my testing of this on a new SSD, it's not bad. I am pleasantly surprised. Everything works the way it should. So if you are new to this and want to try it, absolutely give this a shot. And who knows, this may be your daily driver with all the controversy with the latest Windows updates, with the recalls, screenshot, privacy, security thing going on. Leave it to Microsoft to mess up a good thing. And Windows 11 does work. I have installed Windows 11 on this machine too from 2013, and it's fast. I mean, relatively speaking, it's not as fast as my Chromebook or Linux Mint, but it's relatively fast for this old machine. But leave it to Microsoft to throw in the politics behind an operating system with all the unnecessary controversy. But that's a different story altogether. But Ubuntu, for the most part, in my brief tests, seems to work pretty well. And OBS Studio seems to be stable. I don't see any crashes or anything. So, those are my thoughts on Ubuntu 20 years later. Happy birthday, Ubuntu. And I've said in the past, if it wasn't for Ubuntu, I would not be here. I would not be using Linux, any Linux probably. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys, doing this, doing the live shows, connecting with many friends around the world, which I'm so grateful for to you. And I have to be grateful to Ubuntu, even though I don't use it as a daily driver. I give credit where credit is due. All right, so we do have somebody in the chat. Losha Camara is in the house. LMDE6 for the win. That would be the Debian edition. I have tested that before, and yeah, I thought it was okay. I believe they still make 32-bit versions of that, if I am not mistaken. Now, the last time I tested it was probably a couple years ago on an older ThinkPad. And by the way, ThinkPads rock when it comes to trying Linux, at least. So if LMDE works for you, yes, Debian, just about anything from Linux Mint I would trust, because they release versions when ready and not on a specific date, such as Ubuntu. But yeah, from what I saw from the Debian edition for Linux Mint, I thought it was okay. I don't think it's for beginners, maybe, but I thought it was quite stable. There's nothing better than chilling this evening with red wine and Linux. Not the Linux wine software. That's never worked for me. But red wine, Linux, can't go wrong, right? Delicious. All right, so all right, so you're running it on a, am I seeing 11900 with RTX 3070? It's snappy. Linux Mint is snappy. Okay, you can use snaps if you want, but I've opted out. Okay, yeah, like I said, snaps, flat packs for me are hit and miss. I have a few of those. I think flat packs installed in Linux Mint Mate for VLC, and something else, I think. Again, those are an option. When they work great. When they don't, well, they just don't. But I believe Linux Mint by default has flat packs enabled by default, right? If I have remembered correctly. Look, in the end, what's best for you is what works. It really is that simple. The whole point of these alternative operating systems is to improve the quality of your life. Make it less of a hassle, less of a frustration, more fun, more productive, more fun. Okay, so apt is the default. Yes. Yeah, I believe Flatpak is enabled by default. You don't have to enable that in the terminal, I think. Snaps, you have to run some terminal commands, I believe, for Linux Mint. But yeah, apt is the default, yes. I do like using the Synaptic Package Manager, by the way. Maybe not for beginners. The App Center probably is best to get started with, but I've gotten comfortable with Synaptic Package Manager. Of course, one nice thing about Linux is that you can revive outdated machines. Again, this gateway is from 2013. But then again, I revived this with Windows 11. Completely stunned and surprised. Yeah, I don't care for the politics behind Windows 11, but Windows 11 does work pretty good. Yeah, Synaptic is an app manager. Yeah, it's been there since the beginning, I believe, with Ubuntu. The first time I used it, if I am not mistaken. I like it because it has a simple to use. Well, for me now, simple to use interface, and I don't think it's that difficult to learn for beginners. I don't use it a lot because I have the software I have memorized in my brain, so I just use sudo apt install, VLC usually, or Audacious or Kdenlive, and I don't generally use the App Center Synaptic anymore, usually. But yeah, hi Cody. Good evening. Yes, Yeah, I agree. Windows 11 works really good. It's just about the politics. Yeah, installed it. You installed because of games and booted it only 2 times. Yeah, I don't use Windows 11 as much as I used to. Maybe I don't know, 20% of the time. It's there if I need it for whatever reason. But Windows 11 is quite good, quite zippy. Yeah, considering this is an older machine. All right, so you, Lamer, bought the Cody. You bought the ThinkPad E15 Gen 2. Okay, nice. Just came in. All right, terrific. I bought myself a little toy. I went to Walmart today. Actually, there's a Subway here. I was just looking. I actually still wear watches. I don't use them that much. They had a smartwatch on sale for $9. I'm like, and I looked at it, I'm like, huh. It's called what is it called? Hang on, let me grab the box here. I believe it's called iTech Wearable. The watch is called the Bold 3 if you want to look it up. For $9, I figure, what the heck? And I just synced it to my Motorola phone. It nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. So, yeah. For $9, I figure, what the heck? Yeah, it's iTech, the Bold 3 version of their watch. And, yeah, it feels like a decent quality, cheap machine, if that makes any sense. But it's supposed to have a 5-day battery life. And the other watch I had, a non-smartwatch, the face of it broke. But I don't know. I figure for $9, it can't go wrong, right? But I'll have it on me tomorrow and see if it works. But 5-day battery life, we'll see for $9. I don't know about that, but anyway, yeah, for $9, $9 totally makes sense. I think so. Yeah. Hey, I'll try it out for a couple of weeks. If it doesn't work, I guess I'll return it back and get my $9 and buy another sandwich at Subway, right? All right, enough of that. Don't know how often I'll wear it, but anyway. So that was my little gift for today. Impulse buy. You paid €7.99 for your Garmin. Okay, it's probably a little bit better than what I bought. Yeah, just a guess. Uh, it's great doing these stretches here as I talk to you guys. Just doing my leg stretches and it feels good. Well, yeah, the Garmin does have GPS. I would hope for that kind of money. Yeah. Yes, the GPS is good to help you find your Linux Mint when you lose it. Ha ha. Just kidding. I'm looking forward to hoping that once the holiday season is over, going to next year, Ubuntu will release their immutable version of Ubuntu to see how it compares with the king. Of course, that would be the Chromebook. Yeah, I know. It needs to be connected to your phone and all that location services and yeah. Oh, Cody got the Galaxy Gear Watch. Okay. I've never had one of those. Yeah. I generally am not into smart watches, to be honest, but for $9, figure what the heck, right? Anyway. All right, I'll stick around for a little bit longer. I actually, I gotta grab. I won't do. I gotta grab my other glass of wine here, or my other bottle. But I think I'll skip it for tonight. I think I've had enough wine for tonight. There is something new in the Ubuntu 2410, the Security Center. I was taking a quick look at it, but I believe it says experimental. It's not quite full featured. Anyway, yes, the song "Red Red Wine." Oh boy, I do remember that one. La, da, da, da. I forget who sings it, but yes, I am familiar with the song. That was a group. Oh boy, that's going back at least 10 years. Red, red, red. I'm going to say, I don't think it was the Backstreet Boys. UB40? Is that a band? Something like that. Anyway. Oh, Cody, you installed Endeavor OS on the ThinkPad of all the operating systems. No kidding. Okay. What made you pick that one? Anyway, before I forget, a quick joke for you guys. Did you know that before crowbars were invented, crows had a drink on the street? Bada boom. Oh, you used Ubuntu for a decade, Chimera? And that spyware they introduced, killing that process, installing it. I can't believe I used it for so long, but looking at what Windows did, Ubuntu spyware, meh. Yeah, it's whatever it is, it's not the same, I know. Alright, so Dakota, you have dual booting with 2 SSDs. That's what I'm doing, yes. SSDs have come down in price too. Ah, you like Endeavor for its friendly community, similar to Peppermint OS community. Okay, alright. Hey, if it works, use it. Pretty much, I'm sticking with my Linux Mints right now, multiple machines, my Chromebook, and my Windows 11. Trying to think Endeavor. Isn't that based on Arch Linux? Oh, Chimera, you have a 2 terabyte SSD. That's a lot. Well, if you're running games, I guess you're going to need that, yeah. So it runs and feels it's like a completely different than Arch. Okay. Yeah, I'm not into Arch personally. Arch based. Tried it once with Manjaro years ago. It just wasn't for me. But if it works, like I said, the best OS is the one that works for you. I'll stick with Ubuntu based. Not surprising since that was my first date with Linux. I'm not supposed to. Don't say Manjaro to an Arch user. Okay. We have cubed melons. Okay. I love watermelons. Welcome. Manjaro isn't exactly Arch's best showing. Okay, I don't know. You may be right. It wasn't for me. But Arch isn't still Arch considered like bleeding edge and stuff like that? And I don't need that. I'm more interested in stability than the latest versions of anything. Cody said, still remember when you had a fire extinguisher nearby a long time ago when you had Arch for? Do you remember the joke? I'm trying to think what the joke was. I think that man, I gotta think for a second. What was that fire extinguisher? Oh wait. I remember I had Arch installed, or Manjaro installed. I turned on something. I enabled something, and it says warning. This is dangerous. It could do something to your system. And then I said, don't worry about it. I saw the warning, but I came prepared. I have my fire extinguisher to put out the fire. And somebody said, you don't need a fire extinguisher to try Arch or Manjaro. I think that was the joke. Oh man, that was years ago. Good memory. Good memory. Wow. You made my night. I mean, the system broke anyway. It didn't matter, but yeah. Oh, good times. That's right. I told. That's right. It was Spatry. It says you don't need a fire extinguisher to try. Yeah. All the Arch users are rolling their eyes. Hey, what can I say? I'm not an Arch expert. Sorry. No offense. No disrespect to Arch. Anyway. Hey, Manjaro is Arch base. I'm not that far off, right? I'm sorry, but it's Arch. Just like when people say, well, Chromebooks aren't Linux. No, they're based over Fettuccine Alfredo. Of course it's Linux. I never understood that way of thinking. Well, it's not a Chromebook is not Linux. What do you mean it's not Linux? It's not Windows. It's not Mac. What's left? Anyway. Yeah, so the Arch user repository. Okay, well, I mean, it did warn me not to turn it on. Anyway, yeah. Oh, yeah, that had to be at least 10 years ago. Anyway. Again, the best system is the one that works for you, no matter what it's based on. And I've gotten comfortable with Ubuntu based. So. I think if you go to a website like DistroWatch, on the top 10, I think half of those are Ubuntu based anyway, right? Ubuntu and or Debian based, I think. Not surprising, I suppose. Yeah, Ubuntu Mate used to be my favorite. I mean, it's still good. I just decided to stick with Linux Mint. Yeah. LFS. LFS, is that Linux from scratch? Right? One thing about systems like, Ubuntu, your Linux Mints, your Zorin OS, they really have gotten much, much better over the years to make Linux in general, less scary for somebody new to all this. When there's still videos out there that go, if you're a Windows user, you need to dump it because Linux is much easier. Really? All of Linux is easier? Even Linux from scratch? Even Gentoo? Even Arch? BSD? All of that is easier than Windows? I don't think so. Some Linux is easy to use. I think that's where the misinformation and confusion may turn off potential Windows folks coming to the world of Linux. So you need to be specific. You need to put your mind in the eyes of a Windows user, which, granted, for me, it's a little bit harder now, many years later. But if I say Linux is easier or not as hard for Windows users, well, I'm not going to throw them Arch or Gentoo, right? Unless you want a Chromebook. But you can say some Linux is easy to learn, like a Linux Mint. Yeah, I miss the Unity desktop, yeah. I've never had a problem lately installing last couple of years Windows 11 on multiple machine. And anyway, like I said, I don't use Windows as much as I used to because I just don't need it that much. It's just there as a backup, more or less. But Windows 11, up until this, controversy with the recall and the snapshots, and it's turned on by default, Windows 11 was excellent, just superb all the way around. Now I'm like, it still works, but the politics behind it, here we go again. It really is stupid. For a feature like that, just have it turned off by default. Leave it, let the user have control. You want it on or don't you? I mean, this isn't, the saying, this isn't rocket science. But why they do this, it's like I say, never underestimate the power of stupidity. Anyway, but does Windows 11 work? It sure does. Yeah, when I install Windows on the ThinkPad I bought, I tweak it. I strip it down to as much as I can just to, keep it simple, less time with the updates. Yeah, I try and debloat as much as I can. Yes, it does take more time for updates in Windows. You have to reboot. Of course, you have to reboot in Linux too. At least I have to. More than I would like to. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But as far as Windows performance and how it runs and how it feels, it's fine. Yeah. But the updates do take longer. That is true. I generally try to avoid the optional feature updates, just the security patches of what I need, and that's it. Uh, yeah, Windows 10 and Windows 11. I don't think I've had anything break down or do something wonky. I just don't see it. Have not seen it. Yeah, it seems more polished. Much better than the Windows XP days, of course. You use NT Lite to create the ISO. Interesting. Yeah, I think with this Ubuntu, I think I use the minimal install. I think there's an option for minimal install or full-blown version of Ubuntu. I went with the minimal and just install later what I need. For new users, you may want to do the full install and then start deleting what you don't need. That might be better. Yeah. Yeah, so you're surprised I'm using Ubuntu since Ubuntu called me a dummy output. Yeah, well, I don't use it as my daily driver. For testing, sure, I'll have fun with it. But I have no problem with audio output with this version so far. But yeah, that happened 2 years ago with the fresh install. And even after 2 fresh installs and no sound. Now, I don't know if that was a bug or just something with the GNOME desktop. I don't know. But no dummy outputs for this evening. Well, Tim, my friend, just for you, I'm going to pour myself a little bit. I have to grab the glass here, grab the bottle. I have to grab some more wine. This is for Tim. Hang on. Oh, red wine. Just a little bit more. All right, that's good enough. Hi, Tim. See, it's because of Tim I could drink the wine and do these late night shows, We're just chilling for tonight, Tim, talking about the latest Ubuntu, and this month marks 20 years of Ubuntu. So happy birthday, Ubuntu, and I'll drink to that. I know, Tim, you still use Ubuntu. Anyway. Yeah, well, I don't have any sound problems with this Ubuntu, so I'll just keep it like that. Tim, you came in late, so you missed a little joke I had. What was the joke? Tim, did you know that before crowbars were invented, crows had to drink on the street? But anyway, happy birthday, Ubuntu. Oh, 10 years for you, Tim. Oh, wow. So Cute Melons, Ubuntu was your first distro? Yeah. Yep, me too. Fond memories. What was the other joke I heard today? I'm starting because all these superhero movies, right? Marvel now. I'm starting a new superhero. I'm calling him Aluminum Man. He doesn't kill anybody. He just foils them. But everybody say hello to Tim, longtime friend and Ubuntu user, and cheers, my friend. How's things there? I believe you're in Chicago. I think you are, right? How's things out there? Beautiful day today in Ohio. It was in the 60s and dry and felt good. Tim, you still happy with Ubuntu, right? Chimera asks, have you ever tried to compile a kernel? No, I have not. I'm not that much of a geek as far as kernels and all that, but yeah. This is as far as I go as far as the geek stuff. Yeah, I just got upgraded to the 2410 just for curiosity. It seems okay. Again, I don't use this as my daily OS. No, I haven't tried Gen 2 unless, of course, Chromebooks are Gen 2 based, but no, I don't mess with Gen 2 itself. I don't customize either. Very little customizations, yeah. Yeah, the more you start tinkering, changing window managers and all, the more there's a chance of breaking something. So, yeah, that's why I don't mess with that. For me, the last daily driver for Ubuntu, like I said, was back in 2016, before the GNOME desktop. Using KDE then, using the Plasma layout. Let me check the weather forecast while we're chatting here. If it'll launch, come on. There we go. Like I said, Ubuntu is not as fast as Windows 11, not as snappy, but it does work. Oh my goodness, we're going to have a heat wave here in Ohio. 64, 69, 69, 72, 75. Really? Wow. That's pretty good for this time of year. Nice. Very nice. There is a nice weather app in the App Center for Ubuntu. Nice, clean interface. Let me show you this real quick. And there it is. Have it set to Pittsburgh, but close enough. I'm not too far from Pittsburgh. I like it. Sunrise 7:42, sunset 6:25. Boo. Yeah, wintertime. The sun sets. We don't get as much sunlight as the summer, obviously. That's what I don't like about winter, but oh well. Anyway, a good weather app for Ubuntu. Yep. Gentoo can be a headache. Yep. I use Linux Mint XFCE on my other disk drive. Yeah, I would say probably Zorin OS has the best implementation with the right extensions for Ubuntu. I think there's like 5 of them installed by default when you install it, so it works pretty good. Well, when it comes to a Linux desktop, I look for the 3 S's. Stability is number 1, speed, and in the end, last but not least, special looks or customizations, right? But first of all, it has to be stable. If it's not stable, does anything else really matter? No, because you're going to have headaches and you stop using it. I do remember, Tim, yeah, you have Ubuntu and your ThinkPad, and then the MX Antics for the lighter versions of Linux is pretty good. Yeah, like I said, for this I installed the app menu extension, for the drop-down menu, and something else, but so far so good. And Pop! OS, by the way, also good implementation of the GNOME desktop. All right, let's see. It is 11:16 here where I'm at. Let's give this the last call. Let's give this a 5-minute last call for comments, questions, and then we'll wrap this up for this evening. Your old computer's Ubuntu 16.04. Yeah, that was for me. That was the last great Ubuntu with the Unity desktop for me. After that, I switched over to Linux Mint, Ubuntu Mate, Linux Mint, and now just with Linux Mint for the most part. With Ubuntu just for testing purposes. Tim, yes, Tim says, known you now for 10 years, brother. Yes, it's great to have. I've met so many fine people here over the course of, well, 10 years and longer, I suppose. I think my very, very, very first podcast was with IG from Australia, Infinitely Galactic, who still does videos here and there. I believe he graduated school, got married, I think he's from Tasmania. I don't know, it's been a while, but yeah, 10 years, my friend. Yeah. This is where I met, you and Joe and Steve and so on. Yes, I know, Tim. Linux for the win. Well, that's why I'm here tonight. I figured you would say that. Yeah, the Manjaro challenge had to be. Well, when Spatchy was still doing videos, it's at least, I would say 8 years at least. Yeah. We used to do, me and Spatry and IG used to do the Linux A Team way back when, podcast. I never did bring that back, but it's such a great title, Linux 18, with a Arch user, a Windows user, and somebody from Australia, you know. Yeah, I started the live streams. It was before Ubuntu 2016 because I was asked to. When I started making friends and started feeling more comfortable, that's why I started the live streams. Oh, Cody says you knew me because of IG. Yeah. Yeah, we used to do the Spatry and I used to do the what was it? The Sinner report, the Sunday night news and nonsense report. Me and him would record something and pick out some odd news items, and funny stuff, and go from there. We call it the Sinner report. Sinner as a Sunday night news and nonsense report. Sinner. Yeah. I remember, Cody, the Lamer Linux, sure. When you did videos, yeah. Now the I don't call this the Sinner, I just call it news nonsense. But those are fun times. I remember Spatry and I did a odd news item where I read somewhere what the extinctions of the dinosaurs was because of too much methane or farting, as in the dinosaurs farted themselves to death. And Spatry was like, "Oh, come on." I'm like, "Hey, this is news and nonsense. That's what I read." All those Taco Bell drive-thrus, they ate all those tacos, all the methane. It's possible, That was an actual news article. Too much methane. It makes me wonder if a dinosaur would fart today, how loud would it be? Just a thought. Maybe cause a hurricane or something. I don't know. Go back to making videos to use on a resume. Interesting, Cody. Yeah, if you're a full-time worker, full-time or part-time college student, yeah, it is hard, yeah. And do videos on the side. There's just not enough time unless you do something quick, no editing, right? Yeah. Yeah, we did. We used to do the Thank Toss It's Friday shows. That was always fun. We would have guests on, and of course I can't forget our special dear friend Stephanie Forian, the angelic voice of YouTube. Then the pandemic hit. Then we did weekend shows. Then the pandemic's over. Try to bring the weekend shows back, but nobody seems to be available anymore. So that's why I do these at random. Yeah. Yes, Stephanie Forian. Yes, I think she does like style cosmetic videos now. But I met Stephanie online through Linux, believe it or not. Even though she uses Mac, and sweet lady, sweet gal. In fact, I brought her up here in 2019. I was able to get her a couple gigs. My friends here loved her. Great lady, fun to be with, and I was planning on bringing her back the following year. Put her on the amphitheater stage downtown. I talked to the mayor and other folks, and anyway, then the pandemic hit, and that was history, sadly. So, but yeah, that's how I met Stephanie. Since it's cold, we got to do it on the weekends, Tim says. Okay, I got to get feedback. Yeah. I got to get messages, emails saying, hey, Toss, let's do a weekend show, Friday nights, or even Sunday night. I don't care, as long as I'm available. But I just haven't been getting any feedback. after doing the weekend shows again, Tim, and that's mainly why, Anyway. Cody says she seems really nice, really good. Yeah, she has a natural gift of voice, absolutely. And like I said, I met her live in person, and there's nothing fake about her. She does have a real good voice, yeah. There was the other Tim, yes. We had him on the show a few times, and I don't know what happened. I know he was having health issues. I don't know, Cody. I hope he's well too, yeah. And that was the end of that. All right, my friends. Anything else? Because I'm ready to wrap this up for tonight. Thank you, Tim says. Keep donating to the Carlo Rossi friend. Thank you for that. Sorry. Let me get the that's the wine glass. Cheers. It's like that joke. I had two of my friends. They went ice fishing in Alaska for the weekend, and they got drunk. They had a great weekend, Tim. They caught 500 pounds of ice. Yeah, Cody says, if you don't donate, toss, make you sleep with the fishes. Man, not my style. Gute Nacht. It's 5 a.m. there, Camara. Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. That's very nice of you. Thank you so much. This is why I love doing these shows. You never know who's going to pop in. Thank you. Everybody, please thank Camara for popping in tonight, making this a nice evening. Wow. Germany? Do I have it right? Yeah, I can't stay up that late, but great to have you here. And cheers to you too. Cheers to everybody who took the time to stop in to say hello. Made my night. That's why I do the shows. This is how I meet people. All right. Ooh, I'm going to break the glass here. All right. I think I've had too much to drink. Put this away. That'll do it for the wine tonight. I may have some more tomorrow night. We'll see. Okay. I'm done. Everybody here who stopped in, thank you. Be safe. Had fun. The holidays are coming up, so happy pre-holidays. Be safe out there. A lot of idiot drivers out there. Sadly, back to normal post-pandemic. Had one guy in the parking lot just, well, I don't want to go there. I want to end this on a happy note. Love all you guys. Salute. Bye-bye.